All right, IDOs and early NFTs. A lot of people ask, how do I get involved? What are they? How does it work? We're going to break that down today on the show. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to Tech Path. All right, so we've had a lot of people both on Twitter and also in the comments kind of talk about early NFTs and the whole position of IDOs. Now, what is an IDO? I want to jump to, actually you can find a lot of this on Coinbase. Coinbase is a great treasure trove of information in terms of their white papers and some of the training guides that they have. But this kind of gets it broken down into something I think that can help you understand. I want to just jump to their piece here. This was published back in May, how to participate in an IDO. Pretty straightforward. The big thing here that I wanted to talk about is the advantages of an IDO and what it is. Basically, it's an initial DEX offering, but basically it's a free project from costs and controls imposed by centralized exchanges. Basically, it first and foremost provide instant liquidity as the tokens basically are sold, start trading on the DEX immediately. In this particular benefit, ICOs over IDEA, that should be IEOs, which are effectively the mercy of centralized exchanges, free to list or not to list tokens at their discretion. The IDOs don't attract very severe fees levied on ICOs and IEOs by exchanges, so they can go out, put their project onto some of these platforms and start to get them vetted, because this is really the big important thing, is getting the projects vetted and understanding of whether or not they can start rolling. And there are some different ways of where and how you can participate in these. So how can you participate in an IDO? Getting in on IDO requires pre-buying Launchpad tokens and luck. And these are the lotteries. So major launch pads for decentralized exchanges offering on blockchains such as Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polkadot, Solana, Cardano, etc. They have several features in common, starting with whitelists. That's the ones you want to be involved in, as IDOs tend to raise small amounts of, compared with IEOs and especially old ICOs, which don't really do that anymore. They have a limit to the number of buyers and the amount of launching token each can buy. So basically, you're talking about whitelisting, which Spot requires holding a minimum number of Launchpad native tokens, with larger holdings gaining more entries and then jacking up those native token prices typically. So usually individuals can only win these things once. So that's the big part of it, is one, getting onto the platforms, understanding the whitelist, and then getting involved in the initial tokens so that you can be involved in potentially getting lucky enough to get one of these kind of positions. And that's a scenario. What are the benefits of IDO launchpads and what do they bring? The fact that IDOs are mostly oversubscribed and can help create buzz and form communities, that's the big one. Because in March, the DeFi insurance platform, this was Tidal Finance, held its IDO on Polkastarter and ended up having 500 would-be buyers for every slot. So that's the kind of the point, is that it does create a lot of frenzy around these, and it starts to get you in on what is a ground floor. Think of this like a company or a business startup, but the difference is you've started a business and you have 500 people around every slot of investment opportunity that maybe you offered up. Maybe it was a 5% market share or equity share in your business, and you're going to offer 5 of those, so 25%. Every one of those had 500 people lined up into it, and they would be trying to get into essentially kind of a drawing, so to speak, to be able to get that position. That's how an IDO will work. Now, there are a lot of hacks out there. I won't get into those because I think that needs to be in a lot more in-depth training on how to utilize the strategy. But there's a lot of hacks out there where people are doing some things to position themselves into getting in on that lottery or on that drawing for where that can go. Polkastarter offers 2 ways to earn a whitelist slot. This is what an IDO will have to go through with holding its polls tokens. So every 250 polls tokens, you get a Polkastarter token, brings 1 ticket in an IDO lottery. And as of May, this was this year, Polkastarter used to have a requirement of 3,000 polls. Now you can do it for 250. So that's a big difference, makes it a lot more easy for you guys to be able to involve. Holding more polls also makes it easier to win slots. Thanks to a new boost system, 1,000 polls get a 1-1 boost. For example, 30,000 gives you 1.25 holders for 7-day cooldown period, which basically the whitelist winners cannot participate in another IDO. So it kind of limits the amount of the ones that you can do. That's important because you need to do a lot of your research to understand the projects that you're going into. The second is providing liquidity. So that's another way you can do it. Locking liquidity pairs like an ETH and a POL on the Uniswap DEX and BNB pols on the PancakeSwap. Locking liquidity earns rewards in pols tokens, such as, say, 40,000 pols that PolkaStarter is offering on PancakeSwap in May. So that was one of the ways that they did it. Another opportunity is in an upcoming NFT drop, which is where the poll holders take stake tokens in an exchange for NFTs. This is another way to get access to these early NFTs. All of this, I know it sounds complicated, but it's not quite as complicated as you might imagine. If you're this far into crypto, maybe you're an advanced crypto trader, maybe you're just getting into crypto and you're looking for some alternatives and you like the NFT space, or maybe you like the whole IDO space of early adoption. And I'm going to show you a coin or a project that is an example textbook IDO and how that one basically offered a huge investment opportunity for those who got in early. Let's go over to some of the DEX offerings that are out there that you should be maybe looking into. So these are the ones that are the best platforms for initial DEX offerings, IDOs, in 2021. So PolkaStarter is the one that I like. Nearly all IDOs go through basically the PolkaStarter guarantees returns of about 30, 50, or 100 times the initial investment. That's why people love them. A new project reaches an agreement with PolkaStarter and then decides they want to allow 400 people to be part of the IDO. That's where all of this community starts to generate from. So that's the thing you have to walk into, is understanding the projects that are on PolkaStarter, getting in behind them, get into the ecosystem, and then start moving into actual participation. The other one is Binance Launch Pad, which is obviously always up to the date, doesn't like to be left behind. That's why they launched their innovative platform, which usually works as follows. You hold a BNB, same kind of thing with PolkaStarter with a poll. You hold a BNB token. The difference is BNB, of course, is highly traded, so it's another valuation opportunity on your Binance account. And if you're lucky enough, you'll get access to one of their IDOs. Some of this is happening in other spaces around loyalty, like Voyager. If you're holding Voyager tokens, you now have access to the loyalty program. What they're going to do with those loyalty programs, who knows what that opportunity might bring to you, much like what is happening here with Binance. So all of that really kind of plays into where this goes. And I want to jump to this one here, which really kind of breaks down initial DEX offerings. And basically they're a token that represent any type of asset hosted on decentralized exchanges. And the IDO is when the project basically launches the token through a decentralized liquidity exchange. And they can be created from anything from cryptocurrency to a music, battleships. I love that one. IDO offers a business tool for engaging their communities and economy, both enriches their products and their services while allowing them to make smart business decisions requiring their assets. Now, IDO in some benefits make them more attractive than ICOs and IEOs, primarily. Immediate liquidity and immediate trading on lower costs for listing. That's why people do it, to go this direction. It also does require the whole process of them getting vetted out. So that's a big factor on how these work. And I think that's something that a lot of people kind of forget. And here's an example of DEXs that offer IDO services, such as we talked about Binance and PolkaStarter, but also Uniswap. Most traders also prefer IDOs over ICOs since the IDO listings prevent the issuer, this is a big one, issuer of the tokens from controlling how the fundraising round will go. That's the biggest scenario that is much better for an investor. One of the first IDOs launched in the space was Raven, and which was listed on the Binance DEX, and this was in June of 2019. And I want to jump over to Raven just to show you where Raven and how it performed if you were just investing in the token side of this. So this is back here in 2019. You can kind of see the movement. Actually, it was 2021 right here on the movement where I pick it up there. But you can kind of see the movement of the project. This is all last year. And then right here is the opportunity. So when you get into these IDOs, there are two potential inbound strategies, I'll say. One is that you have to watch out for two things. One, you have to look out for the bot activity. The bot activity is going to drive the initial offering of that project up dramatically. Then you have to look for the fall. And that is the perfect place. It's just like any other project on any of the blockchain projects. Buy the dip. When that dip starts to happen, and then you are a holder. And the holder strategy could be 1 month, 3 months, or 1 year, depending on where it is and what time framing that you hit. So if an example would be if you were going into an NFT project, maybe something goes out, it starts to roll up, there's a big opportunity, and the thing goes viral in terms of, you have to know when that exit is, but the opportunity is much greater because you're buying in at such a lower rate. That is the whole point of being able to get into these projects. Back in the old days, it was the ICOs, where you got into those ICOs early. Maybe you bought Cardano at 10 cents, and look where it would be now. Maybe you bought Solana at a nickel, and look at where it is now, trading at $200. Those are the kind of moves that are life-changing because it creates opportunities. What I do recommend, though, when you're going after any of these kinds of projects, you've got to get in and dig into the projects themselves. Understand what they're trying to do, really understand kind of the mechanism in which they're trying to bring a project to light, because obviously there is a certain amount of vetting that is already happening over at Binance and also on PokerStarter, but you need to take that further and really understand it and get behind things you really are passionate about. Maybe it's an NFT in the music space, or it's the different projects that are out there that you can kind of go out. And all the exchanges list a lot of these, and you can kind of go out and look at where some of these early IDOs and when they're going to be launching. If you get them where they're on, like, say, CoinMarketCap, and you're identifying them, the likelihood is they've already been fulfilled for maybe weeks, if not months. Those are the ones that you're never going to get in. You have to go through the ecosystem itself. So whether it's BNB, polls on PokerStarter, those are the first steps in starting to move into this space and understanding how to really get yourself in IDOs and early stage NFTs. This is a lot of homework for you, but the big key here for this episode is, do you want more of a how-to, showing you more information of how to get started in this? What are some of the initial steps? This might end up being a course, which, by the way, we have some new course projects that we're going to be launching at paulbaronnetwork.com, which you'll be able to find soon. Hold on tight. We're going to be dropping a DeFi course and also some yield farming courses that I think you guys are going to love. Maybe IDOs and also early stage NFT identification and participation is one you'd like to hear or see or learn. If that is the case, drop it in the comments below. Of course, we always love to get your feedback. If you guys are listening over on the podcast, the best thing to do is get over here on the YouTube channel as quickly as you can, because a lot of what we're doing is visual in understanding and showing you kind of the movement, both on the charts, but also some of the projects themselves, and really understanding the visual elements of them is very important for you in your research and kind of in your quest. So join the YouTube channel, make sure to like and subscribe. And of course, if you want to hit me up direct, just hit me up on Twitter at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.